Welcome back, adventurers, to more Lord of the Rings Online. It's finally time to head into the Valley of Rivendell. I hope you guys are excited. This is such a big milestone for the game. And I remember when I first stumbled upon Rivendell when I played the game, it was such an epic feeling. I'm excited to finally be back here. So let's go. We got plenty of quests to turn in there. There's also going to be a ton of quests to do there. And finally, we'll be able to begin the epic storyline again with Book 4. That's going to be over there. And it's super exciting because who's there right now? The Fellowship. The Fellowship is there. They're summoned for the Council of Elrond, so that's really exciting. Whoa, what was that? That lynx just ate my horse whole. One big bite and my horse was gone. That was insane. That's okay though. Not worried about it. Get back on my horse. And here we go, guys. The road begins to go down into the valley after that giant climb following the Fort of Brunnen. We can finally start to head down into the valley. Just appreciate the misty mountains in the background. Look at that. So cool. I love this game so much. And the road to Rivendell is complete. We have made it to the valley. Can't get a good view from here, but we'll go down another level. Let me get rid of all this. Let's get rid of all the text on the screen so we can fully appreciate this. And there is the House of Elrond off in the distance, as you can see. And the epic Rivendell music, which if you've played this game, has a special place in your heart, I'm sure. And look at that. Isn't this awesome? I love this game so much. I can't stop talking about it. Wow. Let's keep going. They did such a great job with the game, man. I'm so impressed. And it really does not get the credit it deserves. It's one of the best games ever. And I'm so glad I decided to do it for my channel, even though it's a giant project. There's the last bridge. Not the last bridge, but you know, there's that famous shot from the Fellowship of the Ring of the Fellowship crossing over the bridge.
How can I be of service?
Megovanen, you come from Elendon and Elro here with message of for Master Elrond, then I will send you speedily on your way. From here, follow the road east, crossing the first bridge. Continue to follow the road north and northeast, and you will soon come within sight of the last homely house. Master Elrond is often in his library up on the top floor. Alright, so I guess I can go north, I can go east. Let me see, I got quest rings everywhere. Let me go this way first. That way I can turn in a few more things along the way. So let's see who's in here. The guest rooms. Oh, you know who's going to be in here. We got some of the Fellowship. We got Gimli. We got Legolas. And of course we have Aragorn. I have spoken deeply with Gandalf, but even he cannot see the end of every path. So we got a ton of things here. Oh my gosh. So let's finish up some quests here.
I thank you for this news.
So this is the forward for the epic storyline. This is from the North Down sending me here. Oh, that I could be there to aid those matters, but it would seem that my fate lies to the south and not to the north. I will compose a message for Halbarad and ask Master Elrond if one of the elves could carry it to Estelden. You have done enough and you have my thanks. For now, take what ease you can here in Rivendell. Now I'll just take that, I guess.
Welcome to Rivendell.
So this is the Book 4 forward, beginning the 4th book of the epic storyline here. Welcome to Rivendell, where you will find the last homely house east of the sea, Kippen. The road to Imladris is not as forgiving as it once was, and I commend you for your efforts. I hope the waters of the ford have calmed since our passage. We left them in turmoil. I fear the cause of those troubles is yet not concluded. Lord Elrond is master of the house here. He should be given news of your arrival. You will find him in his library on the upper floor of the last homely house to the northeast.
Greetings.
Wow, so we got a ton of quests here. So let's take a look at them. Hadamir Took. Now that is a name I never expected to see written on a page outside of the family trees at the Great Smiles. Bilbo Baggins will delight in seeing this book. I shall have to show it to him before my errand steers me from Rivendell. So again, these are some of my epic quests for my warden. If you remember, I collected some books from the warden trainer in the Breetown jail, and I was asked to speak with Aragorn. There was a time when every hobbit child in the Shire was raised on tall tales of Hadamir, such as the story in which he slew the fabled great giant in the Midgewater. But he was also a skilled warden, and though his tales were about as true as his stature was high, they are indeed great for their meaning. It is good to see them gathered under one cover again. It is a shame, however, that the book is in such poor condition. The pages are swollen and ink smeared. It appeared to have been left out in the rain or thrown in the river. Much of it is illegible, but there were other copies once. If another could be found, perhaps Bilbo could make a fresh copy from both together. If you should find any more of this book, be sure to bring it here.
Greetings.
I was sure that this book was gone forever, and we had no hope of ever seeing it again. How much lore of the Dunedain was thought to have disappeared when my grandfather fell near the banks of the Horwell in the north. They are all here. Arnworth, Arhel, Aragorn, my namesake, Aragost, Aravorn. But what's this? It ends halfway through the time of Erasuil, and the last 3 are missing, my grandfather among them. All that remain are tattered stubs of the pages that once were there. Alas, I had hoped that I would read at last the final words of Eredor, written before he was lost. But they are gone. Kippen, you must look again, and see if the remaining leaves yet survive. I wish to join you, but a far more important errand prevents me. If you could help restore the history of my forefathers, the hearts of my people would be much strengthened, and their anxiety perhaps lessened for a time.
Greetings.
Where did you find this? Surely this must be a false copy of some sort. But nay, I see that it is not even as I turn the page. I know too many of these verses, for Elrond spoke the words to me when I was a child in Rivendell, for he held much of this in his memory. You must understand, friend, that the importance of this volume, we have long thought that the Watch Against the Night was lost as the city of Gondolin itself. To have found it again, just as the days darken, is a grace I never expected, a blessing unguessed. It gives me pain to see this treasure with so many pages missing. Many accounts are missing in full, or are only partially told within their next pages, with their next pages all fallen out. To see this book restored would be a great thing indeed. If you happen upon any of the pages in your travels, pray bring them here as well. I would see them restored to their proper home. So we have to find a bunch of pages for these books here. Let's see what other quests Aragorn has for me.
Greetings.
I have borne this broken blade for many long years, Kippen, always unused, for these are the shards of Narsil. Yes, Narsil, the sword wielded by Elendil of the Westernese in the Battle of the Black Gate of Mordor, the sword that broke beneath him in the Battle of Sauron upon the slopes of Oranduin. Though Gil-galad has fallen and Elendil was slain, 2 still stood against the might of Sauron in the shadow of the Fell Tower. Isildur, the son of the king, and Elrond Helfelven, herald of Gil-galad. With a final effort, Isildur packed up the hilt shards from Narsil and cut the one ring from his finger, and the power of the Dark Lord was broken. The light of Narsil was extinguished, but its shards came again to the north, though Isildur himself never returned from the glade and fields. The shards have been passed from father to son in his line for years beyond count, but the sword has never been remade. The old victories did not last, Kippen, and the shadow was returned. We have need of Narsil's light once more. The blade must be reforged. Speak with Hemeldir at the forges here in Rivendell, in the northwest corner of the Vale, and tell him of my decision. I would have him know that Narsil is to be remade. So really cool, we get to be intimately involved with the reforging of the King's Sword. And then I am not going to start Book 6 just yet, of course. We're still in Book 4. So we're going to leave that here for now. And we're going to continue venturing into Rivendell. So let me go this way, I suppose. And across this really sweet bridge that I don't know if I would trust in real life. Lots of waterfalls here. I love Rivendell. So here's a skirmish camp. And then let me see what else I can find around here. I guess I can go to the forges. Man, look how fierce this river is. That is some fast current, if I have ever seen some. Now let me go back across this way. And let's start turning in some quests here.
Mind my words, traveler.
There is much to do in the Misty Mountains to the north. The giants have begun to wander there, and there are goblins throughout the fields. I fear that our northern border is no longer safe, Kippen. An old friend of the elves, Gloin, has a camp to the north of here, in the southwestern area of the Misty Mountains. Find Gloin in the Misty Mountains, and see what you can do to aid him. Alright. So let me actually remove that from my tracker, because I don't really want to be doing any Misty Mountain quests just yet. And, yeah, she's also at Gloin's camp. Let me put this back on here. And then, looks like I already have a ton of other things on here. So, where exactly is the 5th quest? Just one second. Because I have 5 on my tracker, but... Alright, this one. Alright, so we can do that. So the bear hide armor.
And well met.
This hide is truly magnificent, Kippen, and you are equally so to have bested the mighty beast from which it came. I would be honored to craft fine armor from this hide, friend Hobbit. Wear it with pride and at no cost. The honor of working with such fine materials is payment enough. And it's actually not that good. But anyways, that's that. And let me see. Let me keep going this way, that way I can talk to some of the Forge Masters here. I have lived many years and seen many gifts pass from creatures of the wood elves of Imladris, but never have I seen such a boar tusk with such beauty. I would be honored to fashion this into a dagger for you, friend Hobbit. It will be a worthy remembrance of its mighty former owner. And it's not that good. That's alright. And I guess let me keep going north here to the forges. Oh my god. No, I can't go around. What a disaster. Sorry if you guys hear that strange sound in the background. I think my neighbor is mowing his front lawn. So there's a giant lawnmower here. So here are the forges. Let's speak about reforging the shards of Narsil. Narsil is to be reforged. My heart would be filled with joy at this news, friend, for Aragorn and for all of Middle-earth if it were possible. The shards were kept a while in Imladris for safekeeping, and I often gazed upon them. It is with sadness that I must tell you that reforging the sword may not be possible. Its history is known to me, long and storied as it is, but I will tell you only the portion that causes me to grieve. Of old, elves of the House of Fëanor created numerous wonders, items of great power and beauty. Among these were Silithare, adamants possessed of the light of the stars. The dwarf smith Telkar used one of these stones in the creation of Narsil, and the Silithar it was that caused the blade to glow with silver light when wielded in battle. All of Silithar was lost during the long centuries since the forging of Narsil. Without such a stone to use in the reforging, the sword will never achieve the greatness it once had. I am sorry. Bring this news to Aragorn with my sorrow. So it looks like it cannot be reforged without certain stones. Let me exit out of all this. And then I guess let me return to Aragorn real quick before heading into the last homely house. And I am lost once again. I need to go east past this bridge. It's pretty easy to get lost in Rivendell if you don't know where you're going. It's pretty easy to fall in the river as well. I remember doing that a lot. I'd have my map open and I'd keep moving, and next thing I know, I was in the river. Right, let me go this way. I'm gonna go speak to Aragorn once more. I have to go back across that big tree bridge. All right. And let's see here. So this is December 24th, Christmas Eve. Nice.
Greetings.
You have returned from speaking with Hemeldir? What did he have to say about reforging Narsil? I see. Hemeldir is a fine smith, but he shares the dour outlook of his people. If he needs a Silithar to reforge the Sword of Elendil, we will find for him a Silithar.
Greetings.
When I was very young, my father Arathorn was slain by orcs, and my mother brought me to stay here at Rivendell. I was called Estel by my mother, Gilren, and by all those who dwelt here in the Vale, and I rode far afield seeking adventure with the sons of Elrond. I considered him my father, as much as did Elendil and Elrohir. At the age of 20, Lord Elrond took me aside and told me of my true name and my heritage, that I descended in an unbroken line from Elendil of old. He gave me the ring of Barahir and the shards of Narsil, but he withheld the scepter of Annuminus, saying that I yet had to earn it. He withheld too another treasure, but I will not speak of that. Soon afterward, I went in search of the Silithar with which Narsil might be reforged. Yes, I knew then of the ancient Silithar and of the need for one. But I was young and I did not pass the test that was set before me. The time had not come for Narsil's remaking. I have a message for Master Elrond. Bring it to him faithfully and return with his words, and I will better know how to proceed. Here's my message. I know now what Gwyndeth sought of me in the watery darkness, and I am prepared to give it. Elendil was a wiser man than I. I await your return, Kippen. So pretty cryptic, but I'm sure all of this will make sense as we progress along some of the quest lines here. But I think it's finally time to go to the last homely house. So, let me go this way. That way I can activate the milestone as well. So, Reforging Narsil is actually a pretty epic storyline that's going to span multiple quests. And it's actually going to take us into Rivendell. So that's going to be a quest line that I'm going to have to put off until I do Rivendell, which is going to be a few seasons down the line. So we'll have to be patient with that one. Alright, so let me set my milestone here. And I'll continue to the last homely house, aka the House of Elrond. Alright, and here we are, and there's going to be a ton of quests all around here. So let's start speaking with some people.
You may be of service to me.
Kippen, it has become clear that your loyalties stand firmly with our house. The elves of Rivendell are grateful for your service, and already a few of our bards take up their quills. Prepare to spread the knowledge of your deeds in harmonious melodies. After some discussion, the defenders of J.R.R. were instructed to welcome you to our sanctuary high up on the hills overlooking the last homely house. You will find J.R.R. to the south across the falls of LOTRO at the end of the low road which leads to the west. When you arrive, speak with Aragorn. She will be expecting you. Okay. And let me see if there are any more quests here on the outside. And who is this fine hobbit here? It is Elmo. Alright. Hey, Elmo. So, no quests out here as of yet, so let's go ahead and enter the house. So, welcome to the House of Elrond. And let's see who we can find around here. Let's start going into some of the rooms, beginning with the Hall of Fire. And who is it? None other than Bilbo Baggins himself.
Could I take a moment of your time?
Well, hello there. You seem a bit of an adventurous sort. Perhaps you wouldn't mind helping out an old hobbit. You see, I've been writing a book about my travels with Thorin and his company, off to the deal with Smaug and get Thorin's gold back, and I'm afraid that I may have gotten confused on some of the details. My memory isn't what it used to be, and I'm unsure of the directions to some of the places we visited. Perhaps you would help me. All you would have to do is find the back door of Goblin Town. If you find the place, I have remembered them aright. High in the mountains along the stretch called the High Pass we traveled, and at night we found a dry place in a cave midway up the mountains. You shall find the entrance there. If not, well, try and find the correct directions for me, if you would be so kind. So we're going to retrace some of Bilbo's footsteps, but that's going to be in the next season in the Misty Mountains. That should be all exciting as well. So let's continue over here. Actually, let me come back here real quick. There's still a quest ring here. Let me come up here to the upper floors and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Doesn't look like it. I do remember that what upset me about the House of Elrond is that all these little chambers would always have a quest ring even if you got all the quests from in there. So that's going to stay in there. This little quest ring, even though I already got everything I need in there. But let's see what's in here. This is Bilbo's room. And we've got some familiar hobbits here. Samwise. A barrel of pipeweed just lying out there in the wilderness? That's queer. And I don't care how well preserved the weed seems to be, I don't trust it. If you remember, we found some pipeweed in the troll shaws a while back. And it's Gandalf and Frodo here. We are safe for the present, but soon we will be thrust again into danger.
Something I can do for you.
A barrel of pipeweed just lying by the road? I know that Pippin would bring a whole barrel of this stuff with him, if he could, but I'm fairly certain he didn't on this trip. Just yesterday, he did tell me his own supply of pipeweed was running low, and I expect he would thank you for his pouch of it, despite the curious circumstances surrounding it. Alright, and we got Mary over here.
Hello there.
You found a barrel of pipeweed out in the wild? You got some fortune and no mistake. Pippin and I were just about to run out of our own supply, and he'd thank you kindly for that pouch you've got there. I wonder how that barrel came to be lying on the road like that.
Good day.
You found this pipeweed in a barrel by the road? How strange, and how lucky. My pouch is just about empty. I thank you for this, friend, and I wouldn't worry so much about the mystery, though. The smoking of pipeweed must be catching on in all circles, and just those hobbits or wizards. And why not? Take this as my thanks. Alright, so we're done with that quest. Let's see what else we can find around here. There's another room back here. So I need to be on book 12 in order to use that. Obviously we're not there yet. So let's go up. And let's explore some places here. This is the east porch. And what's going on? Alright, the game did indeed crash, but I'm back out here. Not much going on out here for now, except some pretty cool views. So let's go back inside. And let's see if there are any other doors here on the second floor that I can go into. Doesn't really look like it. There is one on that side, actually. So let's go take a look real quick. I want to explore everything. Some elves hanging out, and one hobbit over there. So this is the Scholars Guild. Obviously I'm not a scholar, but pretty cool little area. So let's finally go up to the final floor here. And get ready to meet Elrond. In his library. Pretty epic library, and these are actually crafting stations for scholars, which is pretty interesting. I like that. And here is the master, Elrond himself. And look at that, got a fellow kinsman here. So let's see what Master Elrond has to say. So let me work on some of these quests and then the epic one.
Will you lend me your aid once more?
Aragorn has traveled many roads since his early failure in the tomb of his great ancestor. What would Gwyndith make of him now, I wonder? You look puzzled, young one. Do not despair. I will explain my words to you and give counsel to him whom I once called Estel, which is Aragorn, of course. Aragorn came to us when he was only 2 years of age. His father Arathorn had been slain by the arrows of the orcs. Gilraen feared for her child's safety and brought him to Imladris, seeking to keep the fact of his birth from the eyes of the enemy. I bade Gilraen keep his true name and lineage secret, and she hoped to call him Estel, or Hope. When he reached 20 of age, I saw that he had come early to manhood, and gave him the knowledge of his lineage, and the name of his father, and the name his father had given him, Aragorn, a strong name. Full of hope was he on that day, but he soon would be laid low with a love far above his station. For walking in the woods near sunset of the next day, he encountered Arwen, my daughter, and was stricken with love for her. I do not know why he went to Annúminas, but I always believed he made the journey to prove himself, and that he was worthy of loving such a maid. He went to the ancient city, long deserted, in the company of my sons, and with Calenglad, a ranger that came at times to Imladris. Calenglad did not return from Aragorn's journey to the city of his fathers, and when I next saw Aragorn, the experience had left a mark upon him. Return to Aragorn, and tell him that I agree the time has come for Narsil to be reforged, and I will give it to him a new name, Underil, Flame of the West. We will have need of its light before the end. So very cool. A lot of background and lore there.
Dark days are coming.
Greetings, good hobbit. How may the Master of Rivendell be of service to you? What's this you say? A gaunt man has been raising wights in Nen Torneth? My son was correct. This deed cannot go unchallenged. Thank you for bringing this word to me. I will see to it that this evil is purged from the ruins.
Will you lend me your aid once more?
Be assured, Kippen, the evil that remains in Nan Tornith will be dealt with, though I must consider the best course of action to ensure that it is so. In the meantime, you should take the opportunity to rest. Rivendell is a refuge to all those who come in peace. There are indeed some in this house already who have taken a pause from their trials. You should seek them out and speak with them. Bilbo Baggins spent much of his time in the Halls of Fire, performing the songs and poems he writes for his friend Lindir. You should also find Gandalf the Grey in Bilbo's apartments. He has many concerns, but Frodo Baggins is his greatest. You should seek them both out while you are here.
Hope is not in vain.
So if you remember this is from way back in the day. This is one of the quests that I got towards the beginning of this playthrough. Welcome, Kippen, and well met. I understand that Gandalf the Grey has sent you to me. That is well, for I do indeed have knowledge of our allies and enemies of old. Or rather, those have come for counsel do. If I were you, I would speak with Glorfindel by the stream outside my home. He has friends among the great eagles and has received dire news. As well, speak with the Elf Prince Legolas and Boromir, Captain General of Gondor, at the guest houses. They also bear news of the outside world. And then finally, let's finish up the forward here for Book 4.
Dark days are coming.
The path you took to my doorstep has been perilous, Kippen, and its dangers are all too common in these dark days. If you will consent to lend us your aid, it will not be the least of your challenges.
A strange fate brings you hither.
Welcome to Imladris, Kippen. It is good that you have come. Rest well, but not too deeply or too long. We have need of adventuring folk, for there is evil beyond the veil. Not more than 2 months ago, a hobbit by the name of Frodo Baggins and his companions were pursued to the Ford of Brunnen by servants of the enemy. I speak of the Nine, the Nazgûl, fell creatures in the service of Sauron, and though the Brunnen fell upon them at my command, we have found the steeds of only 8. One of the riders is unaccounted for. Alright, so again, I am going to wait for Book 6 until I'm actually at that point in time. But this is actually going to be a very good stopping point for this episode. I hope you are excited to be here in Rivendell. I know I am. This is all very exciting. So be sure to join the fellowship and hit that subscribe button. Also leave a like on the video for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Let's smoke some of this Wizard's Fire pipeweed. See you next time, guys.